The world is beginning a strategic shift in its approach toward the United States. While Donald Trump is demanding a military budget exceeding $1 trillion, several global powers now argue that it is no longer necessary to compete with Washington by engaging in such massive spending. They are increasingly favoring asymmetric warfare, drones, cyber attacks, low-cost missiles, and modern tactics capable of exhausting a superpower with more expensive resources and slower response capabilities. For several weeks, countries such as China, Iran, and Russia have been closely observing new international conflicts and reaching a common conclusion. The wars of the future will no longer be dominated exclusively by aircraft carriers and bombers, but also by swarms of drones capable of striking effectively at a lower cost. Ukraine has already demonstrated this reality. Despite having less military power than Russia, Kyiv has managed to target strategic infrastructure using drones and long-range missiles. Attacks on oil depots and facilities located near Moscow sent a clear message to the international community. A smaller army can now inflict considerable damage on a major power. Taiwan is now adopting a similar approach. Facing growing pressure from Beijing, the island is intensifying military exercises in urban centers and along its coasts. Taiwanese authorities are demonstrating that they are preparing not only to repel a potential amphibious invasion, but also to wage an asymmetric urban war capable of significantly slowing down a Chinese army. Meanwhile, Iran continues to assert that the United States is no longer invulnerable. Groups allied with Tehran, such as the Houthis and Hezbollah, are using low-cost drones capable of bypassing American defense systems representing investments worth billions of dollars. For many states, the conclusion seems obvious. Why invest hundreds of billions in fighter jets when a few drones worth $20,000 can disrupt an entire military operation? China appears to have fully embraced this strategic evolution. Beijing is investing heavily in drones, military artificial intelligence, and automated systems. According to several analysts, China seeks to avoid a direct conventional confrontation with the United States and instead prioritizes the development of technologies capable of gradually eroding American power. At the same time, Donald Trump appears increasingly isolated on the international stage. Following his controversial trip to China, several observers believe that Xi Jinping has managed to gain the upper hand diplomatically. According to some reports, Beijing has suspended several major trade discussions and demanded guarantees regarding Taiwan before resuming negotiations with Washington. China is now reportedly using its economic influence to exert pressure on the United States in strategic sectors such as semiconductors and the aerospace industry. Furthermore, Cuba is once again becoming a focal point of geopolitical tensions. Some American officials accuse Havana of representing a growing security threat, while Cuban authorities denounce what they describe as an attempt to prepare public opinion for regime change. The Cuban government maintains that despite economic sanctions and the embargo, the country will not yield. Officials on the island state that any foreign intervention would trigger massive resistance from the population as well as local militias. In several American conservative media outlets, some elected officials close to the MAGA movement are beginning to openly discuss the possibility of a confrontation with Cuba, although others believe that increased economic pressure alone would be enough to provoke an internal uprising. Ultimately, the world appears to be entering a new geopolitical phase in which traditional American military dominance is increasingly being challenged. Many countries now believe it is possible to resist Washington through modern technologies that are less expensive and far more difficult to neutralize. As alliances strengthen between China, Russia, Iran, and other powers opposed to the United States, several international leaders claim that a new balance of power is emerging. The question now being asked is the following: is the world witnessing the decline of American hyperpower or simply a transformation in the methods of modern warfare?